It's the warmest day of the year, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk about something interesting. Let's talk about spirits. What are spirits? Well, as far as I'm concerned, a spirit is any intangible entity which causes a person to act. Now, that might seem like a very vague and broad description, but I think that's actually appropriate. Let's start with an obvious one. Countries are spirits. Now, that's not to say they're not something else as well, but countries, at the very idea, at their foundation, are spirits. Countries create a sense of cohesion between people. Those will create separations between people, but that's a consequence of creating any kind of group. They inspire the creation of states. They inspire people to work for, to live for, die for their country, the spirit. They have an immense effect, and you might say that, that means it's not real, it's just an idea. But I don't think that's necessarily a way to describe reality. I mean, that's a way to describe reality, but I think anything is real as long as it has an effect. That's what I think. Now, here's a funny thing. Languages are also spirits, in a sense. They're non-tangible things that nevertheless cause people to act. Because, people think that the things that are produced, what I'm doing right now is technically not language. What I'm doing right now is speaking. Language is simply is the concept behind speech. If I do sign language, that's still language. Even if I'm not speaking, I'm not saying a thing, it's still language. Because what language is basically, it's a structure, it's a form. Intangible. Formless. Ironically, a form without form. Well, that's not necessarily as, how shall we say, unusual as one might think. But, yes, languages. These vague, abstract set of rules that exists in your head, in a sense. They don't have a place, they don't have a shape, but nevertheless, this language can be produced. I can speak it. I can sign it. I can write it. I can read it. But it's not a tangible thing. It's not something you can physically touch. You cannot touch English. You cannot touch Swedish. You cannot touch Arabic. You cannot touch Mongolian. But they exist. They're real. But they're not physically tangible. And they cause you to do things. They cause you to read, write, sign, speak, listen. Now again, you might think that this is a way too broad of a definition, and that this means so many things are spirits. But I think that's appropriate. I think that's fine. I think that the idea that we have to have a super neatly defined definition for things is foolhardy. It's delusional, frankly. It's the belief that somehow language needs to emulate this Platonic world, which I can understand. I'm a TI user. That's like the intuitive thing we do. But we must understand that that's not necessarily, at the end of the day, how the world works. The world isn't a false copy of something perfect. It is what it is. The world is what it is. It doesn't have to be any other way necessarily. Now, why is it important to think about spirits? Because, it is important to think about spirits because, spirits can possess you. What do I mean? Do I mean literally a non-tangible ghost takes over your body? No, I mean anger. I mean hatred. I mean happiness. I mean languages. I mean ideologies. There's a specter haunting Europe. The spirit of communism. Or however the opening lines go. They're supposedly materialists, but that is the opening line. Why is that? Well, because they are actually onto something there. Communism is a spirit. Communism is a non-tangible thing, a non-tangible entity that causes people to act. Now the question is, do you want to be possessed by these things? Do you want to be controlled by anger, by the spirit of communism, the spirit of liberalism, the spirit of nationalism, the spirit of France? Oh God, horrible. Do you though? Really, seriously, do you want to be possessed by these things? Is that what you want for yourself? Now, I'm not saying the ego is not also a spirit. It is. The ego is also a spirit. Hunger is a spirit. I'm not saying spirits are bad. I'm not saying spirits are good. I'm just saying spirits are. And you have to accept that. You have to live with that. You have to handle that. What are you going to do? Do you want to absolve yourself of autonomy? Do you want to give yourself over to these things? Is that what you want? I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm saying, do you want to? When you feel angry, do you want to make you act certain ways? Can you find a way to placate these spirits? To make them not go away, or at least not bother you for the time being? If so, you probably should know how to do that. You should probably know how to exercise your spirits. Do you want to absolve yourself of ego? Do you know how to do that? Maybe you should learn. There are people who know. So, at the end of the day, what am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you, spirits are real. Know what they are. Know where they are. Know what they want you to do. And ask your other spirits, do you want to do this? Do you agree with this spirit? Can you make the spirits within you come to a unanimous agreement? Can you create balance? Or are you going to be possessed and dominated by a single spirit that acts without the consent of the other spirits in yourself? Is this what you want? You have to ask yourself that. That's really what you do. You just have to. Otherwise, what's the point? Are you going to be a leaf blown by the winds of by the spirits of the wind? Is that what you want in life? Hope not. But I don't know. You do you, buddy. Yeah, that's all I have for this month. Too warm. Can't really make myself do much more. I mean, fucking... It's cancer season, am I right?